Hi, and welcome to Mrs. Pam Reads, where we are continuing in the Magic Circle by Katherine Neville. Same close as last video, cut short by an annoying alarm that really wasn't on the story much. So I was getting all like, blah, this alarm. Anyway, we're just going to continue. I turned off the alarm. We are going to continue where we were, which was at a restaurant. Wolfgang and Ariel have gone to a restaurant to meet Dacian Basserides. They're there. He's not. And Wolfgang has gone to see if he might be there somewhere already. Okay. I sipped some more wine while I studied the menu. I'm not sure how much time passed. Just as I was wondering whether I ought to go on my own to find the waiter, a shadow fell across the table. Glancing up, I saw a tall figure bundled in a green Loudon greatcoat. His broad-brimmed hat shadowed his face against the light pouring from the windows behind, so I couldn't make out his features. His leather satchel, much like my own, was slung casually across one shoulder. He set the bag down in the far side of the booth that Wolfgang had recently vacated. "May I join you?" he asked in a soft voice. Without waiting for a nod from me, he'd unbuttoned the coat and was hanging it on a nearby hook. I glanced around nervously to see what was keeping Wolfgang. The soft voice added, "I saw our friend Herr Hauser back in the kitchen just now. I've taken the liberty of asking him to leave us." I turned to object, but he'd slid into the booth opposite and removed his hat. For the first time, I got a clear look at him. I was absolutely riveted. His face was like nothing I'd ever seen. Though weathered like ancient stone, it seemed a timeless mask of sculpted beauty and enormous power. His long hair, nearly black, but mixed with strands of silver, was pulled back to reveal his strong jawline and high cheekbones, then tumbled in ropes of braid about his shoulders. He wore a quilted leather vest and a shirt with loose white sleeves, open at the throat, to reveal a string of intricately carved beads in various colored stones. The vest was embroidered with bird and animal motifs in rich and vibrant colors: saffron, carmine, plum, cerulean, scarlet, pumpkin, viridian, colors from a primal forest. His ancient eyes, beneath brooding brows, were of a depth and hue that might be equaled only by the rarest of gemstones, pools of mingled color, midnight purple and emerald green and ebony, with a dark flame burning through their depths. Boy, I'd like to see a color picture of this guy. Of all the descriptions I'd heard of him, I thought Wolfgang's seemed the best. "The way you're looking at me makes me quite self-conscious, my dear," he said. Before I could reply, he reached over and casually plucked the menu from my hands, commandeering my wine glass, too. "I've taken another liberty," he told me in that soft, exotically accented voice. "I've brought some Côtes du Rhône from my vineyards at Avignon. I put them in the kitchen earlier. How would you say? To help them breathe?" Before our friend Wolfgang agreed to leave, he insisted you hadn't eaten all day and must have some food to go with it. "You're fond of tafelspitz? I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. I hope." The waiter unobtrusively set the new bottle on the table with fresh wine glasses, poured, and quickly vanished as Dacian went on. "Since you're my only heir, my vineyard and its wines will one day belong to you. So I'm pleased for you to make their acquaintance, as I'm delighted to make yours. Shall I introduce myself formally? I am your grandsire, Dacian Basserides, and I regard so lovely my goodness. And I regard so lovely a granddaughter as a better gift than all the wines in the Vaucluse. Holy S word, I thought, as we clinked glasses. That's all I need to be heir to one more bequest. If all my inheritance turned out like the last one, I wouldn't be around long enough to collect on anything. I'm delighted to meet you too, I told Dacian Basserides. Meant it. But I want to explain that I learned of our relationship only moments ago, so I hope you can appreciate that I'm still in shock. My grandmother, Pandora, died before I was born. She was rarely discussed by my family, so I know as little of her as I do of you. But if you're truly my grandfather, as you say, I have to wonder why it's been hidden from me all these years. Do others know? Of course, it must be a shock for you, Dacian said with a sweep of his long, graceful fingers, the fingers of a violinist, I recalled. I'll explain everything, perhaps even a few things you'd rather not learn. Though I myself always prefer even the rawest of facts to the prettiest of fiction. But you must tell me what you've already heard before I can provide the rest. I'm afraid I know very little, I told him. All I've heard about that side of the family is that you and Pandora were cousins, that she was a music student in Vienna who worked as a companion or tutor in the Ben household, and that you taught my uncle Lafcadio to play the violin. He says you were young, but a great master. Quite a compliment. But here, our meals arrive, he said, as we eat, I can explain everything. It's not so much a mystery as one might suppose. I watched as the waiter sat down an array of covered platters. When he lifted the lid to my Tafelspitz, that traditional Austrian dish of hot boiled beef, accompanied on its divided plate by cold applesauce and horseradish, hot vinegary potatoes, creamed spinach, fresh green salad with white beans. It looked and smelled fabulous, but Dacian's lunch was unfamiliar. I asked him what it was. It's the best way to find out about people, to learn how they eat, he told me. For example, in this tureen, we find a Hungarian cold soup of sour cherries. Then the dish you asked me about is Sevapcici, Cevapcici, with all kinds of accents above them. A kind of kebab made from ground beef, lamb, garlic, onion, and paprika. It's smoked over charcoals and of smoldering grapevine, so it has a taste of the vineyard. In Dalmatia, they claim the Serbs invented it, but it's older than that. This dish was really invented by the Dacians, my namesake, an ancient tribe that once inhabited Macedonia, now part of Yugoslavia. They were known even as far east as the Caspian, where they called themselves Dao, the wolves. We wolves, it's how you recognize us. We very much like to eat meat. And he stabbed one of the patties with his fork and closed down on it with those magnificent white teeth. When the first bite of Tafelspitz melted in my mouth, I realized how truly hungry I was. Dacian plucked choice items from various dishes and passed them across to me. I wanted to wolf down everything I saw, but I forced myself back to the topic. So you come from the Balkans, not Austria? I asked. Well, I'm named for the Dacians, but my people are really of Romani descent. And who can say where the Rome originally came from? He said with a shrug. The Romani? I said. Are they for Rome, or did you mean Romania? Romani is the name of our language, rooted in Sanskrit, and also what we sometimes call ourselves, although we've been called many names by others over the years. Bohemes, Singari, Tsiganes, Gitanos, Flamencos, Tartars, Ziganor. Wow, I'm probably massacring all of those words. When I still looked perplexed, he explained, most would call us by the common name gypsies, because it was once believed our origins were in Egypt, though there are plenty of other opinions. India, Persia, Central Asia, Outer Mongolia, the South Pole, even places of magical belief that have never existed at all. There are those who think we came from outer space. Interesting. And those who think we should be shot back there as soon as possible. Then you and Pandora are gypsies? I admit I was confused. 1 hour ago, I had an Irish mother and a father I thought part Austrian and part Dutch. Now, all at once, I was illegitimately descended from a pair of gypsy cousins who'd abandoned my father at birth. But befuddled as I might be about my ancestry, I had little reason to doubt Dacian Basserides' description of his own. He looked every bit as wild as everyone described. The details of our family are never to be shared with the Gadji, the others, the outsiders. Dacian cautioned me seriously. This is why I have sent our friend Hauser away. But to your question, yes, we were wrong. Though Pandora grew up and lived partly among the Gadji, in her heart and blood, she always was one of us. I knew her from childhood. She sang so wonderfully that she already had the marks of a great diva. Perhaps you know that in Sanskrit, this term describes an angel, while in Persia, it means a devil. Pandora was a little of each. As for the origins of the Ram, our sagas say we came to Earth eons ago from an aboriginal home, which can still be found in the night sky, the constellation Orion, the mighty hunter, or more precisely, the 3 stars forming the belt at its center, the omphalos, the navel or umbilical cord of Orion, called the 3 kings, because they shine like the star the Magi followed to Bethlehem. In Egypt, Orion was equated with the god Osiris, in India with Varuna, in Greece with Ouranos, and in Norse countries with the spindle of time. In all cultures, he is known as the messenger, the chief guide for each transition into a new age. And we're going to stop there. There's no official, this is a very long section with no real breaks. So we're just going to stop there for today because we're 14 minutes in. All right, you guys. Sorry for the tongue twists. I get tied up sometimes with some of these words. And of course, because I'm reading aloud and wanting to make eye contact, I try to look a little bit ahead. And anyway, the problems of somebody reading aloud on video. It's all good. I hope you don't mind. Well, I hope you're enjoying the story. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And I will see you tomorrow.